Hey, what's up, guys? Dave Palmer here with Palmer Power Motorsports. Thank you for tuning in for this week's episode concerning the LS build that we got going on. Sorry it's been a little bit since I talked to you guys. I've just been super busy because, as you guys know that know me personally or have stayed tuned to the channel, why not only do engines and race and all this other stuff, we build the hot rods. So I've been working on a project here. I'll show you. Been getting an old truck here into primer and getting it all straightened out, and we're fixing to do the final sand, and we're fixing to get it done. So I do apologize for the delay on the engine. It's not necessarily a delay. I know we've been posting pretty much every week and a half. So the week and a half days, I'm just getting stretched out. So I do apologize. This week, we're going to be installing an LS tunnel ram twin carb setup. But the setup that we're going to put on is actually going to be able to, you can go single carb. You can do a fuel injection hat, and this hat I highly recommend. It's built by Holley. It's a Holley Hi Ram setup. So we're going to get over to the machine room and or the engine room where we build all the engines in our clean room, and we're going to get over there. We're going to get this knocked off, get you guys up to date, and show you guys how to install that. And I'm going to show you how to or give you some recommendations on a few things. So stay tuned. Thank you to my sponsors, Kevin Blumenthal, Cheetah Race Engine and Development, MMA Max, J&H Tire, Peace Machine Shop, everybody that helps each and every week here. Thank you also, Gerald, for coming up and helping out with some things too. So thank you guys a bunch, and stay tuned. Thanks, guys. Guys, I got the Holley Hi Ram set up here that we're going to install. Now you can install your intake according a lot to the specs I'm going to give you. They should be pretty close to like torque specs and whatnot. But I do highly recommend this because these things come with different types of hats, and they do flow very, very well. And we're going to show you how to put the little O-rings on here, what comes with the kit. But this is a Holley Hi Ram that you can get from Summit Race and Jags or any kind of performance shop. So we're going to show you how to put this thing together, how to install it. Actually, it will go like this. Yes, that's the way I like to put it, because I like for, and you see that it's got little bosses here that you can do direct port nitrous and all kinds of stuff, and it's got little spots to drill into to mount linkage and whatnot. So a very multi-user friendly intake for these LS engines. I really like it. Let me grab the top real quick. This is the top that we chose. We chose the dual carb top, and we're going to wind up putting a dual carb setup right there. But like I said, they have single carb, they have dual carb, they have a fuel injection snorkel that you can put this way, you can put it that way, then you can pro charge it, twin turbo it, any way that you want to mess with it. Very highly recommend these. I'm really liking this item from Holley. Really working good for us. So, but this is the setup that we've got and the one that we're going to use. So we're going to use the dual carb setup. So I'm going to go through the steps to show you how to put one of these on the intake. And remember, this is just for this performance motor. Obviously, your stock engine, let me grab the gasket. Your stock engine is going to have something like this. So, or your intake, I mean. And you're going to put that down and you'll put your bolts through and you'll torque it. This is a whole different setup because it's high performance. So, let me show you this other deal. And what we're going to do right now is I've got to plug the front here with some plugs so we don't have no air leaks or whatnot. This can be used for all kinds of things, from sensors to your vacuum ports to whatnot. But we're going to go ahead and plug them. And then we've got to put a seal here, a little O-ring. There's a little groove right here, and it's got to be hand cut to put in. And even though this thing seems a little bit intimidating, it is not that bad. I promise you guys, this is a very user-friendly setup. So, and I think you'll really like it. So let me get the rest of this together so that you can check it out, and we'll show you how this thing goes together. All right, thanks, guys. Okay, your kit's gonna come. I mean, obviously you're gonna get this. You're gonna order your hat separate. I call this the hat. I don't know what they call it, but that's what I call it. Whoop! Lost a little. There we go. A little washer. Must be a hole in the bag. They give this little bag of assorted mounting hardware, the little bolts that go around here. Also, they're going to give you studs. They're going to give you the studs to put around this thing, which is right here. You're going to put these into your heads. And what I always do is I put the short end, as you can see, the short end right here, I put that into the head and I leave the long threaded end point out. And I'll put some thread locker on this as well. I'll run these down all the way on all of them. And we'll go do that on the head here in just a second. We'll run those down with thread locker and let these stick out of the head. Remember, short end down. And then they send you some O-rings. Now these right here are going to be for this right here. These are going to be for right here. And they do stick pretty well, so you won't have to use additional glue or anything like that. Now, the tricky part will be this gasket right here. This one here is your top one, and it comes in 2 pieces. And I'll show you what I do on that here in a little bit, how I get it started, how I run it around. And I even use a little bit of glue right here. Now, I don't care what Holley recommends. I'm just showing you the way that I do it. So, I'm going to show you the way that Palmer Power here does it. And we don't have no leaks, no issues, no anything. So, let's get some thread locker. And let's go ahead and install these studs for this into the heads. Remember, short end down, more threads up. All right.
Get ready for a deep dive.
Alright guys, what we're going to do now is we're going to plug this end right here. Now the thing is with these Hi Rams, I have found that there's little, I wouldn't say defects, it's just sometimes I found one screw missing. This time I found 2 of the little plugs missing. Right here, these 2 plugs right here. I also found this one need to be tapped so that we could put their plug in here. So I found a couple little issues. And this normally is pretty normal. I don't know if it's because they make these things in China or what's going on, but I will notice little odds and ends from time to time, not every time, that will happen. The best thing I can say is, instead of sending it back, if it's something minor like this, tap it a little bit, go pick up 2 little 50-cent plugs, call it good. So what we'll do is we'll use some of our thread sealant here, and we'll put the plugs in and get these all plugged off, because our motor's not going to pull any type of vacuum, and this is going in a race car. So let me get these put in, and then as soon as I put those in, we're going to go ahead and we're going to put these O-rings on as well. And the smaller O-rings, you just pop them in like this and you work your way around. Now, as you're doing this, also look at your surface here. Look at your surface on both sides. Look at the top. One time I found like a little edge that was kind of boogered up just a little. I took a little filed it a little bit, and it was good. So that's the only thing I found. On this one looks perfect. So there's no issues. There's not anything wrong. Nothing's been damaged or whatnot. But like I said, I'll put the plugs here on the front. We'll put the plugs on the front, and then we'll put the O-rings on the bottom. And then when we get that done, then I'll have to show you guys how to do this. So let me get that stuff installed. Alright, right here guys, we got our intake. We've got this longer little gasket here. Well, and it's kind of a handmade item. What you'll want to do is, I always stick it on one end up here, kind of about mid, and I'll hold it and I'll kind of work my way around here to kind of get a rough measurement. Now the easiest way to do this, to get your measurement, is to put a little bit of black silicone. Okay, so I'm going to show you how I do it. That's a little bit different from the instructions that they show you. So what I'll do is I'll take a little bit of ultra black here from Permatex, and I'll put a little bit down here to hold it. And what I'll do is I'll stick it on there, and I put a little bit on this, the little seal that they gave you. I'll stick that in, run it around here a little bit, and then I'll dab a little bit with this finger right here, and then I'll stick it in just like that. And then I'll dab a little bit right here with my finger. See how I got it on my finger? And then I'll run it around just like that. Dab a little bit again, stick it in, dab a little bit, so on and so forth, and it just helps hold it. Now I'm gonna need a little bit more, so what I'll do is I'll dab a little bit more on my finger, just like that. I'll come on around, do a little bit, stick it in there, a little bit, stick it in there. And then as I come around here to the back, I will actually, in all honesty, you've got to cut it, and you got to cut it perfect, right on the money. So let me clean my hand off here. And I will take a fresh razor blade, and I will run this up right with it, right on the money, and then cut it with the razor blade. Right there. There we go. And then what I'll do after I've got it cut, get me a couple of paper towels here. I'll put a little bit more of the black stuff just to hold it down. Make sure it's flat. Make sure everything is flat. There we go. See, that one worked its way out a little bit. I didn't mean to do that, but it did. Okay, just like that. Make sure everything's fairly flat. Looks fairly good. Okay, that looks good. And you use the black Permatex to kind of hold everything down. Now back there on the back, where your joint was, you will definitely want to make sure that you put a little bit of Permatex back there in the back. So right back there where you cut it, you want to make sure that you got it on there. Now, what I do is as well, I will put a small little bead of this. Now we'll just wipe a little bit around the edge just to help hold it and try to help seal it. It's just something that I do, and it's what I recommend. I've had no issues doing it this way. See, I put a little extra back there in the back. And make sure that you hold your silicone or your Permatex here on the inside edge so that if you have any extra and it tries to seep out, it seeps out inside and not on the outside, so that it doesn't give it an ugly look. So you don't want it to look ugly neither, because this intake is very beautiful. It's a good looking intake. Very nice, but I do this little extra layer of protection here, and you guys may, you know, gripe about it or have your own views about it, me doing this, because it does have this O-ring seal, but I've actually had them leak, and I've started doing this here about 2 years ago, and this has worked perfect. I've had no issues with it. I've had no issues with any fuel problems, any vacuum leaks, anything like that. So this is what I recommend. Just a little bead all the way around the inside edge. Keep your ring there. And it'll try to pop out. You see what it's been trying to do to me. Try to pop out there. And you just nice real thin film all around the inside edge, just so that you get a nice true seal and nothing happens. Okay, we look good there. Now what you'll do next is we'll set the top on it. We'll put the screws on. And we'll go from there. So, okay, I'm going to get the lid. We'll get it put on here. And whichever side that you're wanting the carburetor to be on, which I want mine to be right here, you make sure you get it faced which way you want it, one way or the other. So I've decided to put the little the KO plugs on the back. So I'm going to flip this around. Make sure you line it up, because you don't want to be moving it around a whole bunch. That's a definite no-no. So, and you want to get all these kind of, started here. You want to make sure that you get all these started. Let me get them all started, and then we'll get back to you. All right, just to let you guys know, we did get all of these put on and torqued. I just didn't show you guys exactly what was going on, but we after we glued it, we put the top on, we put these screws in, we got them started, and then you got to do 75 inch-pounds of torque. It's inch-pounds, and you go 1, 2, 3, 4, and crisscross back and forth, kind of like whenever you were tightening the heads. So generally we start here. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 75 inches of torque, not pounds, inches. And then you want to ramp that on up to 130 inch-pounds, and the same sequence that we just showed you. And then your top plenum will be torqued. Now we're going to go ahead, we're going to stick this onto the engine, and we're going to slide it up over the bolts that we've already mounted. And then there's going to be inch-pounds. I think it starts at 50. And then whenever we get done with the 50 inch-pounds, there is a sequence that we have to do it as well. And it'll be 50 inch-pounds on the bottom here, the bottom ones. And then it goes up to 106 inch-pounds, not foot-pounds, inch-pounds. So let's get back over to the engine. We'll slide this thing on, and then we'll show you guys how to install that. Because these things will not take abuse. And I think they tell you that in the paperwork. Nice and easy. Just work it around, nice and easy. And you'll finally get her to settle. Okay. Well, that thing looks good, don't it? Now, I'm going to go get the nuts and bolts. We'll put the nuts and bolts on, and we'll go from there. Alright, got my little inch-pound torque wrench here. Remember, you set it at 50 inch-pounds. You'll want to... What I generally like to do is I will generally get quite a few of these kind of started. That's what I would do. Where everything's kind of seated. So don't worry about, doing torque right out of the gate. I wouldn't do that. Just get them where they're all kind of, you can feel a little bit of tension on them. Get them where you can kind of... And then you got to do the crisscross method whenever you're tightening them. It's the way that you want to do it. So let me get this here. Okay, so like if you start here, you start at 50 inch-pounds. Inch-pounds. Like I said, you want to make sure that you crisscross every single thing. And then come back over here. Back over here. Back over here. Back over here. If you get confused, they do give you some paperwork and a sequence to do this with. So now, you want to loosen up your little guy here and go to 106.
Get ready for a deep dive.
Alright guys, well, Well, thank you guys for tuning in for this week. This trick is sick. Me and the little installation we got here, this little 327 is looking pretty sick. So, believe it or not, it is 327 if you've been following along. And the modular, the Hi Ram modular intake from Holley, I highly recommend these. Like I said, we've had a lot of good luck with them. Very good piece, very intimidating, very cool looking, and believe it or not, they're not that bad. We will have a series later on after this engine build that will show how to tune dual carbs, and it's really not that bad. So, but just wanted you guys to check this thing out, show you guys how we put our intake manifold during this build on. And if you guys are interested in getting one of these, do not be intimidated by them. They are not that bad. You've seen that they're very easy setup, a very easy design. So I know one of the deals that we're trying to put together right now, we're trying to go with a pro charged version of something like this, and a 6.2 to 6.0 or 6.2 liter LS style engine. So really a big fan of these things just because the cost effectiveness and the options that they have on this thing. So I want to give a shout out to my sponsors again, Kevin Blumenthal there in Oklahoma City, Cheetah Race Engine Development, J&H Tire, Pete's Machine Shop, Summit Racing, MMA Max, everybody that helps us out here at the shop, each and everybody. We do appreciate you, and I'm going to get back to it. I've got a lot to do. Staying busy right now this time of year, because you guys know with it cooling off, most guys bring cars inside. They're ready to work on them. They're ready to get down on them. So, and we got hunting season. So I'm sure you guys have been paying attention to the weather. So everybody stay safe during this COVID-19 deal. And God bless, Godspeed. Thank all of you. Have a good one.